Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Heat Army podcast. Lots of you tuned in already, which is amazing. Send your messages in, thoughts and views. The last three games have been absolutely amazing. Gateshead 2.0, we said it started a while ago. It seems to have really kicked in overdrive at the moment. We've had the 6-0 against Dorking since we've last been on air. Also, as well, we've got the 2-0 down at Barnet, and then, of course, on Tuesday night, if you watched it or tried to watch it on National League TV, you would have seen Gateshead got another win. Well, in the second half, we've seen a little bit of footage. But before we go any further and bring on Mickey and we've got Mark with us today, big thank you to our sponsors, Northern Print Solutions, and of course to our sponsors, partners, Patrick. Get the words out, and of course subscribe as well. Right, lots to talk about. I'll bring in the lads now. Hello, Mark. Hello, Mickey. How are you doing? First and foremost,
not too bad.
Hello. Sorry, I was answering a text. That was rude.
Sorry. Say we've got lots to talk about. So much positivity. It's. You know what it is? It's been that way for a little while this season. This is little to criticise, which I'm sure Steve Farnfield and a few others will find some things, but on the whole, it's quite positive. So, of course, we've got all that to talk about. We've got another guest coming to join us as well. We've got Chris Phillips, who is a journalist that covers Southend. Of course, plays Southend on Saturday, so we're looking forward to talking to him. And, of course, he was at the Football Content Awards as well. And before we go any further, I'd just like to say a big thank you to everyone. You may have watched the vlog that I did when I was at Liverpool. I've got a couple of photos here to put up. Of course, I met up with Dan Bell when I was there. There he is with his good lady. There we go. Unfortunately, we didn't get there. We didn't didn't get into the top three in either of our things. But a good night was had, and you can see he's got his pint there. But the funny thing was, I don't know if you see it on the vlog. See up here, he's got the pictures. It's the wrong one, actually. It's this one here. Obviously got our logo in there, and poor Dan Bell, they didn't use his logo. They used his profile picture off Twitter, and he was devastated. That was going all around Anfield, and of course it was there we go, that was the awards as they went off. But a great night. But one thing I will say is offered both these men a free ticket to come down. It was very short notice because my friend Craig, who sponsors the show with Northern Print Solutions, couldn't make it down. But essentially, the night was an £80 pie and pea supper, which was advertised as a 3-course meal. It wasn't that. Might not be going next year. The value wasn't there. But a nice night and an honour to be nominated. But yeah. So there we go. So lads, I will tell another story about that. I did have £160 worth of pies because I had my friend's pie as well. That wasn't there. So how many people can say they've done that on a night out?
So technically, you had 2 courses.
Well, it was a tiny pie. It was a tiny pie. Yeah. So out of possible 6, that should be actually. But yeah, no. Got lots and lots of messages coming in. We've got one from Sandra, which we know is Steve Farnfield. Darcy is what. Good evening, everyone. Hello, Darcy. Thank you for joining us. Hope it isn't past your bedtime. Mr. Luke, hello, gents. What a week it's been. If you're a Gateshead fan, really impressed with our recent performances. And we're back firing all cylinders. Roll on Saturday against Southend. And lots more messages coming in. Our one good. But Mickey, Mark, a couple of weeks ago, we were on the end of a 4-0 defeat at home to Fylde, and it wasn't a 4-0 defeat in game-wise, so of course it was score-wise, but did either of you envisage this kind of response from the lads?
I was hoping for one. And the 3 games I've seen, I thought maybe if we could get 5 points, I'd be delighted. We've already got 6. Out the last 2 and 9 out of the last 3. So if we can make it 12 on Saturday, that would be absolutely amazing. But wow, these have been amazing.
I'll just share this screen here at the moment. Of course, you can see there Gateshead are sitting in 5th position. We've got a game in hand on Solihull Moors ahead of us. But we're the form team. There's no one else with 3 wins in a row in the last 3 games. You've got to see going into a home game. You got to have a chance. Southend, they're no slouches. They've got a good side, a good starting 11, should I say. Of course, we know all their troubles, but they're trying to get past that. But they're still under a transfer embargo. So, you've got to think how they're doing off their last couple of games, how they've got injuries, how they've got knocks. But we go into it and they're in and out of form. You got to think, Mark. It's a chance, but it's a one that we've got to stay switched on for.
Gateshead should go into any game at the minute, not just at the minute, across the season with confidence, because I think the sooner, and I think the players already know it, but the sooner everyone realises just how good this Gateshead side are, the better. Yes, there'll be knocks, there'll be blows, there'll be games where they don't hit the levels they normally hit. There'll be losses. That's football, and it's one of those things that have kind of lingered over from the previous manager. It's the highs don't get too high, the lows don't get too low. This is football. It's a tough league. It's a challenging league. Whether people like it or not, Gateshead are massively punching above their weight here. Like, I'm sorry, it seems harsh to say it because it's a very talented group of players, but when you look at the budgets that they're going in against at the top end of that league, and the budgets that they are outperforming at the moment, it's remarkable. And I look at this squad, and I know this won't be a very popular thing to say, but I think probably 9, 10, 11 of those players could go and play Football League comfortably. And not just go and play Football League in the bottom half of League Two. I mean, go and play and challenge at the top end of League Two.
Well, I picked up on something that the Barnet manager said in his post-match interview, and he said that there was 20 plus scouts there watching Gateshead at the Hive last Saturday. So that tells you everything that people are taking notice of what is happening at Gateshead, and which is a great thing. You'd rather have people looking at your players than not looking, because you're obviously doing something right. Of course, you don't want to lose any, but a majority of the players are on big contracts, big lengthwise, and you're going to get compensated for those type of things. But let's hope that doesn't come to that, and they see out the season with a promotion with Gateshead, of course.
The thing is, though, Dave, and I'm not setting anything off here, and this isn't based on literally anything. It's just it's harsh truth is that there's a food chain in football, and unless you're Real Madrid or Manchester City, there is always a bigger fish, and every player in football has their price. We've seen that. You've seen players leaving Man United to go to Real Madrid and stuff like that. So what I would say is Gateshead have got themselves into a position where they've looked after themselves.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it will, but if a decent offer came in for a player, then they would be in a good place.
We only have to look back at our little brief history now at the football club with the likes of Adam Campbell moving on at the beginning of the season. Yes, it was a gutter, very likeable player, very likeable person. Football moves on. Of course, the food chain does inevitably keep going. It's a conveyor belt, football. We know that. It goes from the top to the bottom, depending on which player you're going after. And but we look back at the season before, Macaulay Langstaff and Kedwin Scott. Yes, it took us a little while to get ourselves back with a replacement or get to the level, should I say. But it will happen. It may take longer than you may think sometimes, but hey, that's not to say anyone's coming in for anybody, but let's, we're not trying to jump the gun or anything. But yeah, definitely.
Ruining my night.
Mickey, you've always got that face. It's got nothing to do with the conversation.
Wait until tell everyone that Sky've coming for me and you, Dave.
Oh yeah, I know we've packed our bags already. They're dying for a microphone that crackles and cuts out sometimes. We've got
I asked Dave the other day if he was going to Wrexham because I got rid of the stadium announcer.
Yeah, the stadium. Yeah, it's ruffled some feathers that on social media. We've got delighted Rob finally get the team clicking. Hope he gets a job permanently. Yeah, I couldn't see anyone disagreeing with handing it to him now at the moment. I think he never really had a baptism of fire. There was just a little blip in form, but he got maybe that was a good thing. In hindsight, where look, he had to get working with the players, get angry with them, or find out the weaknesses and maybe adjust things rather than come in, keep the team winning, and then all of a sudden, a few weeks down the line, there's something that needs to be fixed or worked on. The players have took to him. They obviously knew him. They knew Louis. They knew Carl as well, and they're obviously listening to things because there is little tweaks. And I think Mark, you did an article with him, and he said there was going to be tweaks. And we're seeing that in the final third because the goals are free flowing at the moment. We're a little bit more quicker around the box.
well, I might as well plug it now, eh?
Yeah.
But there is a piece coming out tomorrow morning with Rob. I met him this morning and had a really good chat with him about what is now a month, which seems ridiculous, since Mike left. It's just over a month. So kind of Rob looking back at that month on and off the pitch. So that'll be out early tomorrow morning on the Sunderland Echo website. But yeah, I think, you shouldn't underestimate the role that Louis Story and Carl Magny are playing as well, by the way. And also he keeps getting forgotten about, but Dale Walker as well, the goalkeeper coach, because they are very much a strong unit as a four. And I think it was maybe just everyone was just reeling a little bit after what happened. And I think that maybe showed in the filed result. Yeovil for me was a no-win scenario, because if Gateshead went down there, it would be a case, well, they're lower in the leagues, we should beat them. If you get beat, it's kind of overhyped because of, it's seen as a shock. But you look at the reaction since, and we shouldn't forget Rochdale away, by the way, which was an unbelievable result to go down there 2-0 down and come back and get a draw. But you look at the last three games, and I think we're just seeing little hints of where this Gateshead, maybe the next step in their evolution will come. What I love about Rob is he hasn't been scared to make big calls. So you look at, Regan Booty came out the side on Tuesday. He didn't put Callum Whelan back in. I mean, imagine saying that last season, Callum Whelan's fit and sitting on the bench, and you would have probably laughed about it. When Billy got handed another start after his hat-trick, it may seem the obvious thing to do, but when you've got Marcus Denanga, who is top goal scorer still, back in full fitness, you think, well, you put him back in. But
not only that, he's making calls within games as well. I mean, it's noticeable. We've seen the captain leave the pitch. He's watching the game. I'm not saying that Mike didn't, but he is prepared to make those changes in the game where he sees fit. And he's taken to it. He's definitely taking it seriously. It's more. It's very enjoyable at the moment. You see here, Elabella Nitz. That's my wife. She's been ill in bed all day with diarrhea and sickness. She probably didn't want that out, but she has. Both ends sick. But she did. Was sent a message on social media about an hour ago. We sent one of our hats to Josh. Patrick, and he's unveiled that, so he's very happy with that. So everyone's here, get well soon to Elaine. We've got lots of messages coming in. Paul Jenkins put can see Gateshead getting to FA Trophy final again. Each game as it comes. We'll see what happens in cup competitions. It's we've got here. I think I've already put that one. Hopefully, can try and make it to the I can try and make it to the Content Awards next year. Well, hopefully the food's better, but it is a good event. I'm only mocking it slightly. We've got Darren Walden, evening lads, back in the Irish Sea. Hope it's not as choppy as it was around here today. The wind was blustering around Gateshead.
I hope he's standing on the oil rig and not in the sea.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, Rob gets signed permanently. I don't know anything, but I would imagine, reading between the lines,
that's just in general, Dave.
Yeah, I don't know anything. But look, he's been embedded in the club for a couple of years. Even before his official role, he was always about. Safe to say, he loves the club because he worked hard behind the scenes, stuff we didn't see or know about. Now he's there and he's getting results. I think it would be an absolute madman that didn't give him the job. So here's to it being announced.
We're looking in the wardrobe come January.
All of them. Steve Farnfield's put 18 points from safety. God, there's always one, isn't there? Couldn't ask for much more in the last two games. 2 wins against promotion rivals away from home. That's another big thing as well. We had a little conversation before we come on air, Mark, about how well they're doing on the road. It's a big ask. We're doing a lot of miles. Especially the last 2 games, they've spent days on coaches traveling, and to get themselves, and I mean, for the full 90 minutes in both games, looked fresh all the way through.
Can I just make a quick point there as well, right? And it's something I spoke about with Rob today. Even using the phrase promotion rivals, even I've written it today in this piece that'll come out tomorrow, is a little bit of a reality check about how far Gateshead have come. It's still only the second year at this level after promotion.
Yeah.
They've been through losing, you could argue, 4 or 5 top players in, the likes of Bailey and Langstaff and Scott and Adam Campbell, people like that, the likes of Phil Marshall going back. To be where they are now is nothing short of a miracle, I think. And that's not me trying to disrespect anyone at the club at all. The fact that they are where they are, and they are genuinely in a playoff race, is phenomenal. And it's testimony to a lot of hard work by the previous manager, by the current manager, by people behind the scenes, people like Rob as well, stepping into the breach. And I think it's funny because we were talking about going back a year when there was an injury crisis and they had, there were signings that came in that didn't quite work. I always go back to the Aldershot game, the early kickoff when I think was it 2-0 or 3-1 at home. Just a lifeless performance, and just nothing went right that day. And I genuinely thought, and I'm sure I'm not alone, that relegation was on the cards after that game.
Yeah. It felt like a long season, didn't it, from there?
So to even be discussing being promotion rivals it's remarkable.
It
And
certainly
I'll tell you
is.
another thing as well, Mark, adding to that, is how many opposition managers and fans are seeing with the best team they've seen.
Yeah, it's been said time and time again in a lot of post-match interviews from other managers and players. We have got our guests lined up, ready to come on. We've got Chris Phillips joining us. But before we do that, we do have a message from the Antarctic, from Davy Steele. So this is from Steele of the Antarctic. And then when we come back, we'll be speaking to Chris.
Evening, Davey. Evening, Mickey. Evening, Heat Army podcast. Welcome to the Antarctic. What a glorious day it is as well. Although, as you can see, it's also cold. Got a few penguins behind us here. Hey, let's not feature the birds. Anyway, what a result. Brilliant down at Barnet. We won 6-0 against Dorking, and you think, have we turned the corner? Was that just a one-off? Big test away to Barnet, hadn't lost at home all season, went down. Not only did we beat them, we played really well, played them off the park by all accounts. Could have been a lot more. Even their fans were saying, best team in the division they played so far. You've got to remember, this is Barnet, at the Hive, and in second place chasing Chesterfield. Just went down and just swept them aside. Absolutely fantastic. Great to see Wernie getting back in the score sheet. He's back in the groove now. The team are back in the groove. Great debut for the centre-back, Job. Honestly, couldn't ask for anything more, really. Team performance, great result. And it really gives us all a buzz, doesn't it? Just gives us that positivity that things have turned the corner. We are now heading back to what we were, with earlier in the season. We've got over that blip. And we couldn't ask anything more, really. I'm 10,000 miles away and still buzzing, still buzzing from that result and onwards. Honestly, we have got a good team and we are absolutely hitting it here at the moment in time. Great result. I'll be back in touch. Good to see you, lads. Have a good show. Speak to you soon.
That wasn't Antarctica, that's concert.
It is, yeah. But that was all his own footage as well. That isn't stock footage. That was all his what he's doing down there. So obviously fantastic. And he's also got a prediction for Saturday as well that he sent us. But we'll quickly bring in our guest. We've got Chris Phillips joining us. Hello, Chris. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad. Have you recovered from last week?
What, watching Southend or the awards, or what exactly are we talking about? Because I think watching Southend, you never know what's going to happen next. So yeah, I think I've just about recovered from Southend beating the league leaders with only 2 subs in typical Southend fashion, and yeah, long journey back from the awards, but I enjoyed it, and obviously got to meet some really good people.
Yeah, and also congratulations as well. You won an award on the night, which was great to see. We were cheering on our table at the back as you went up to collect your award. A great night. I mean, I don't know if you've seen before, I was having a little bit of a joke about the £80 pie and pea supper as well. If anyone that went with you would have had to have paid. But a good night, though, wasn't it? It was nice to see a lot of content creators get their moment in the sun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, actually. It's the first one that I've ever been to, so I wasn't really too sure what to expect or what it was going to be like at all, really. But it was sort of nice to sort of everyone that you sort of see online, don't you, that you see that they've got more than a head and shoulders. So it was really enjoyable to meet a lot of really good people. And I particularly like that it, not me, but I mean like other people, that it shines a light on what so many people do in non-league. I know there were winners on the night, and rightly so, from higher levels, but I think it's only right that a lot of excellent work gets done at National League level and below from a lot of fans and a lot of content creators, and it's not always the most glamorous of places to go to, and I think a lot of people that put the things together at this level deserve a hell of a lot of credit, because it's a labour of love and they all go above and beyond to put everything together. So I think nights like that are a nice reward for the effort that everyone puts in all year round, really.
Yeah, people on YouTube have legs. They certainly do. Obviously, Chris, we've got a big game on Saturday. Another long trip for yourselves for coming up. You mentioned you beat the league leaders with only 2 substitutes. How's it looking on the injury front going into Saturday?
Well, we could have 4 substitutes this weekend, so we're getting greedy now. So it was a little bit lower than normal last weekend, because we had a couple of players that had been away on international duty. So Daniel Carnu went to Sierra Leone, and Mauro Valetti had been away as well. So they were both on international duty and they were unavailable. So Southend did only have 2 subs for the game with Chesterfield, but they've both come back into the reckoning now. So yeah, we should have 4 on the bench for the game against Gateshead, and I'm looking forward to it. Actually, it's 2 good sides, 2 teams that like to play football the right way. They'll both be going for it. They'll both be trying to get the win, playing it out from the back, and it'll be a good advert for the National League, I think. We saw that in both the games that the Southend had against Gateshead last year, were both really tough from Southend's perspective, and I'm certain it will be the same on Saturday, both in quite good form, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be. I'm really looking forward to this one. Of course, we're in a good run of form and looking to extend that. But obviously, see, you've got a striker which I love. I loved him when he was at Chorley. Not so much when he played against us, but I'm very admirer of him, Cardwell. How's he been doing for yourselves?
Yeah, he's been fantastic this season. In previous years, he hasn't ever really been able to stay fit for long enough to be able to get that sustained momentum. And he's got a bit going, and then he's had to drop out, and then he's come back in, and it takes a while to get back up to speed, and then he gets going, and then he gets injured. So it's been stop-start for him, really, up until this season, where he's got the run of games going for the first time, really, since signing. Yeah. He's not been quite so prolific in recent weeks. He's gone 5 or 6 games without a goal. He missed a couple of good chances in the defeat at Altrincham, particularly a first half header that he'd be really disappointed not to have done better with, and not to have at least hit the target. But up until then, he'd been flying. So he's already his best season in front of goal. I think 10 was his best ever, and he's already got 11, I think it is. So yeah, he's flying this season, and he's getting the rewards for the work and the sort of creativity of the players around him, the likes of Gus Scott Morris and Jack Bridge. They're sort of big players for Southend, and that's a good thing now, that a lot of chances are being created by Southend's players in and around the final third, and Harry Cardwell's definitely been reaping the rewards where that's concerned.
Mm-hmm. I've got a message here from Christopher Story. Just before I read it out, obviously we've got lots of messages coming in that have related to the video before. I will get back to them, and I know there's some other messages.
Yeah, I enjoyed that, especially the Penguins. I'm hoping that they might be there Saturday.
Yeah, it might feel like it by half time. It'll be very but do you know how many fans are expected to make the travel up? Has it been good numbers this season?
I don't think it's been released officially, but Southend's support is incredible. So I remember being slightly sort of taken aback by how many were there last year. I think it was 700 or so that made the journey. And I think a lot of that is it's a new ground for Southend, wasn't it? Last year we hadn't played there before, so might not be potentially as many this year, but Southend are incredibly well supported wherever they go. So there'll certainly still be a few hundred that sort of make the trip up to cheer on Kevin Mayer and the team. So yeah, I would expect there to be good numbers for Southend again, because there always is wherever we go, especially when the team's in such good form. So yeah, hopefully make for a good atmosphere. And from our perspective, hopefully there's a bit more to cheer for than there was last season.
Yeah,
you were good before. You didn't have to go that far.
I'll ask you one more question before I throw it to the lads and anyone watching. But obviously, much has been documented, especially by yourself, about the off-field comings and goings on down there. Is it all nearly rectified yet? Is the light at the end of the tunnel fully here for Southend United?
Yeah, I'll cut a very, very, very long story short. So we didn't even know until a week before the season. We didn't even know whether or not we were going to be able to start the season. That's how bad it was. And we certainly didn't know whether or not we were going to be able to start the season at home, because we didn't think the stadium was going to be ready. So it's a miracle, really, that the team are doing as well as they have done, especially with the points deduction and everything that's been thrown their way. There wasn't even water at the training ground for a while. That's how bad it did get. You can't over-exaggerate it. It was really that bad. So full credit to the players, the staff, and everyone involved. So look into it. Heads of terms have been agreed. It's a consortium headed up by an Australian called Justin Rees, who's a really good guy, really good person to be around. Slightly scary that we're the same age. So I'm feeling older than I have ever done before. I'm going to be the same age as someone that owns the club that I support. Yeah. But I'm sure I'll get over that, because it means that we've still got one. And yeah, things are sort of slowly progressing. I think we're all a little bit impatient because we want it to happen as quickly as possible, and we are still restricted at the moment with the transfer embargo. So that's the reason why we don't have many subs, and we obviously can't sign anybody. So as soon as this happens, the bills will be paid, and then we'll finally have the freedom. It's over a year now that we've been in this transfer embargo. I think it's 13, 14 months now that it's been in place. So
it's even more remarkable the season that you haven't been able to refresh the squad, and
yeah,
the amount of players that you've lost as well.
Yeah, it's crazy, really, because every time you do sign someone, you have to go to the league and put your case forward, and then they're allowed to be registered temporarily while that person's injured. And then when that one comes back, the one that is so complicated. It's sort of ridiculous, really. But yeah, talks are continuing. It's getting closer and closer. I spoke to swapped a few messages with Justin earlier, and it is getting closer. But as to when the matching date will be, it's hard to tell whether or not it will be this month or the start of next. But we're just glad that we've still got a Southend United, because for most of the summer, I'll be honest, I really didn't think that was going to be the case.
Yeah, it did look that way. I'll throw up to the lads if they've got any questions as well, and of course anyone watching it.
I was just going to say, Kevin Mayer's created an absolute mega siege mentality.
Yeah, 100%.
When everything gets taken over, the relief from the lads, it must be just like whoosh.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's going to somehow hamper the thinking that they can take the foot off the pedal, because all of a sudden they're going to get these people who can come in when they've just been so single-minded. And in my opinion, Kevin Mayer, it doesn't matter what happens from now to the end of the season, deserves Manager of the Year.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it's a very interesting point, and it's one that I've thought about myself, because everything that's helped at the moment has been, like you said correctly, that siege mentality and a real them and us. It's really been the players, and the fans have been a big part of that as well. There was over 8,000 there the other day for the match against Chesterfield, and the atmosphere was incredible, really. It was like Roots Hall of old, and there's something special brewing. And once everything does get sorted, there's that sort of momentum to enable the club to sort of push forward. But at the same time, they need to be a little bit careful, because they've got something good going. And it's not going to be a question of going out and suddenly signing 10 players or something like that, because then you're going to lose all the hard work that you've already done. But I think they know that. And I think that's the good thing. The people that are in place at the club on the football side of things, the likes of John Steele and Kevin and Darren Curry and Mark Bentley, they're sensible people, and I think that they realise that more than most, is that what it takes to get to that next level, and slowly but surely they keep on they'll keep on building, because we've seen on the pitch this season there's not a lot wrong. It's been tough when it's been Saturday, Tuesday. There was a spell in particular when it seemed a little bit relentless, and with Southend's small squad, it was near and not impossible to keep on trying to maintain a high level of performance. So it will help them when there's that strength in depth, but that brings other issues, because at the moment as well, you look at a small squad, everyone's involved every week, so everybody's a part of it. And then when you get a bigger squad, you're suddenly going to get those that are going to be a little bit unhappy because they're not involved, and it almost becomes harder to manage. So different tests will come with the future of the club, but we'll take that because it won't be tougher than what we've already been through.
Yeah, it'll be a nice problem to go into, won't it?
Yeah, 100%. It's it's hard to. I know people sort of know bits and bobs about it, but it's difficult to just sort of emphasise just how tough it's been following Southend. It's just been relentless, really. It's been one thing after another. We had back-to-back relegations and all the financial problems, people not being paid, and it was never ending, really. And you'd think it couldn't get any worse, and then it did, and it's just been, it's been really tough. So the performances on the pitch have almost been a sort of relief from that for much of the last couple of years.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I think you've got away with murder, because if that had been anybody up in the north as well, I think they would have been gone by now.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I do understand that. Yeah, that point of view, and I had quite a lot of conversations with the National League in the summer about the situation and what was going to happen, and it was very borderline. You have to say that they were quite lenient in letting Southend start the season, but I think they realised that if Southend didn't start the National League season, then that was it. There wasn't anywhere else that they could really go because of how late in the day it was. They couldn't go into the Isthmian League. They couldn't go anywhere, really. And I don't think they wanted it on their conscience, rightly or wrongly, that they were going to be people that were going to kill the club. So back at that point, I think that they were quite fair, quite lenient. Like you said, they could have easily have stopped Southend playing. And they laid the rules out, the 16 players, and they also put it there in black and white that the sort of finances had to be sorted. And if they weren't by that date that Southend were back in court, then there would be the 10-point deduction. And that's what happened. So I think they laid it out quite fair. I'm looking at things with my Southend United perspective on. I'm a Southend fan as well as a reporter. So I'm going to be biased, but at the same time, I do understand why people could have differing opinions. I think the National League's a better place for having someone like Southend in it, but at the same time, I completely understand if people have different opinions. But it was one man. That's the thing, wasn't it? So it's just a hell of a shame that
we kind of have, like I was to say, this message here about the great unity between the clubs because the players and fans have kind of been through it together. And I was going to bring this up, but this kind of brings us nicely to it. Of course, Mark is a journalist up here. I'm sure you've seen Mark's stuff online. You both went through the same thing, covering a club potentially in its dying days. And I just want to talk about stress between you, because I know Mark had a hard time, and I know you're a big Southend United fan, Chris. It must have been just tedious at times, to the point where you probably want to jack it in, I would imagine.
It was just, there was no escape. That was the thing. It was literally 24/7, and whatever I did or wherever I went, I couldn't escape it, because all my friends pretty much are Southend fans. So everywhere I'd go, people would be rightly worried. You could go and do your food shop and people in there were worried. And I think you learn during the tough times just how much things mean to you. And I think that's something else that Southend have benefited from. I think now that people were so close to losing their local football club, that it's always been that hardcore, but I think there's been a lot of other people now that have started to care maybe a little bit more about Southend, and you just have to hope that momentum that's been built can continue to carry on forward, because we haven't got any clubs near us. There's no clubs. You've got clubs in London, you've got Colchester, but that's 40 odd miles away. So the area that there is around here, the potential is huge for Southend to get really big crowds, and if that feel-good factor can just keep on growing, then they'll be able to really propel themselves forward. But yeah, it was really difficult. There's been nights when I live on my own as well, so that wasn't the best of times. My poor dog has become my official counsellor at times. She's probably an expert on Southend United now, and it was the long trips away from home and the relegations, the endless phone calls that you have to make and the things you find out or the whispers, and it came a point where I just thought, well, this is it. There's just no way that we can go from here. And even this season, we had the game at York City away. I think that might have been the lowest point we had. We had a typical National League ref that day, so we got a couple of red cards.
We'll not talk about them. We'll not talk about them.
We had a game on the Tuesday, and it was like, we haven't got a team. We had 10 players, and we were driving back from York. End of the game, I literally did have a few tears rolling down my face because I thought, this is it. There was a huge ovation that the team got from the crowd, and we haven't got a team. So that's when we found out the other rules of the embargo about people coming in and whatnot for a short period of time. And yeah, if you're looking at it professionally, it's been the most difficult time that I've had. It's been very, very difficult, and just because it's all encompassing and there's been no escape. I haven't had a single. I'm going to start playing the violin, or I did at primary school. But
so we'll have a violin off.
I haven't had a day off since June. Like literally, I've worked every single day since June, and that's just the way it is because there's so much going on that it's just impossible to escape. And it's been 24/7. But I love Southend, so it's just what you do. And if you can play a small part in getting the story out there and trying to save the club, then you're going to do it.
Yeah, without a doubt. And we did have a message that popped up about your charity work. Of course, people might not know that you did a 24-hour stream. What was the organisation that you did it for?
Yeah, I did get a bit like flashbacks when you said the StreamYard link, because I think the last time I was on that, I was on it for 24 hours. So thankfully we're not doing it for that long. I know I talk a lot, but it should be okay by then. Yeah, that was for Mind. I'm a trustee for our local branch of Mind. And I'm someone that suffers with mental health issues as well. So I'm always quite keen to, as men, we're a bit rubbish, aren't we, about talking about issues and problems, and everyone has them. So I'm just always an advocate of trying to encourage people to sort of speak out about the problems and that they face, because it's not always as bad as you think. And there's always people that are willing to listen. So
we spoke about mental health on the podcast here, and we always encourage anyone to reach out. No matter what charity it is or organisation, look, it's not manly to keep it bottled up. You've got to speak, because little things might feel big to you, but if it's shared, there's always an answer. And
100%.
To be worked
Share
through.
your problems now. I want to hear it now rather than your funeral. That's my motto.
Yeah. And that was the ethos behind the live stream, was to emphasise the fact that it was good to talk. We did 24 hours through the night, and then I probably didn't time it very well because I finished it at 1 o'clock and then went straight to the game at Roots Hall. We beat Solihull 5-0. So to be honest, I thought I was hallucinating. I thought I was like asleep and dreaming or something, because I was sort of like, what's this? What's going on here? It's great.
It's interesting though, because the mental toll of doing the job is tough. And like you said, during what you've gone through, I went through with Gateshead in 2019, wasn't it? 2019, 2020, and it's just, it completely envelops everything. It's like every part of your life it hits, and it's such a strange one where I remember getting messages at 11 o'clock at night from people saying, "What's going on?" It's like, nothing at the moment. And obviously Gateshead's owner, if we can call him that, was based in Hong Kong, so there wasn't really a lot happening during our daytime hours because of the time difference. So it's really challenging. And I think I've said it on here before, and I've certainly put it in print. I had an article written about the death of Gateshead Football Club, about the club going, and I was ready to publish it whenever it was needed. That's how close it got, because that was the way it looked, and it was purely down to, as you said, down to one man. And I think it's still not been. When I look at the authorities, the FA, whoever needs to do it, they still don't protect clubs. They still don't see clubs as assets, and there needs to be something done. Obviously, there's talk with the regulator coming in now, but it's horrendous when you see the amount of clubs in the last 5 years, your Buries and clubs like that have gone to the wire or gone. It's so poor. from the authorities. I can't get how they're not learning lessons and doing things. And Southend's a classic example. But if I can just say, your work's been absolutely exceptional. Got nothing but admiration for your commitment, for the quality of your work, even in the toughest times. It's just right at the very top.
Oh, thank you. I'll give you that $5 later. I'll bring Happy to the game, yeah?
we had like a vested interest because obviously we knew we had went through a very similar thing. And in our group chat for the podcast, we were like, oh no, is it, are they going to go? Are they not? You know, and it was your news that we were using as the reliable source. So no, hopefully, let's hope everything happens before Christmas, and then give yourself a day off.
Having said that, I'll never forgive Southend for beating Newcastle 4-0 at Roots Hall on New Year's Day. But
I was there that day. I remember that. I remember I went home and did a match report on my typewriter. That's how long ago it was. We went top of the league. That's crazy. That seems a long time ago now. I remember I was such a cool kid. I went home and put teletext on hold because Southend were top of the what is now the championship. So I was
text.
Well, I think the nice thing is that I think going back to your point before is that a lot of the support that Southend have had from fans of other clubs. I know Wrexham was supportive last year. I think York in particular and their chairman, and that's what we've liked about this level. I think it's proper football with proper fans, isn't it? And I know it's cliched, football family and all things like that, but I think people realise at this level just how much a club is genuinely part of the community and how much the fans are a part of that as well. And it was, really nice to see that so many fans from all other clubs were genuinely really worried to see the predicament that Southend were in. And it was quite touching to see the number of sort of donations and things like that came the club's way. And that won't ever be forgotten. And I'd like to think if other clubs found themselves, obviously I hope it doesn't happen, but if they get in trouble, then Southend fans in the future will be among the first to help them out. And I think that's the nice thing. And that's why I like football in the lower leagues, because it's real football, isn't it? And I think it genuinely means a lot more.
Obviously, you mentioned winning against Newcastle there, and for me, it's generally not lost on where we were 15 years ago, apart from each other, where you're up in the higher echelons of the Football League, and we were right down in the Northern Premier League. And it's not lost on me that we're playing Southend United at home, and we're the ones in the playoffs. It's a real moment for me, but it is very surreal. But I'd say hopefully there's a good travelling contingent, and it's a good game for us. But hopefully I get to see you on Saturday and have another little chat with you. But as I say, well done everything. Well done on the award.
Thank you very much. It's great to meet you as well. It was a real highlight of the night. So great to see you and Luke. And hopefully see you at the game
later on. But it's absolutely fantastic to have you on, Chris. But before we let you go, prediction for Saturday.
Oh, it'll be cold.
It won't be cold, Chris. It'll be absolutely fucking Baltic, man.
On that note,
I'll go for a draw then. Go on. I'll go for a score draw.
Yeah. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Cheers. See you later. Take care, everybody. Bye.
I didn't realize we could swear on here.
Well, we can't. Not supposed to.
I do apologise, everyone.
We've got lots of messages. There was two that really did stand out, and it's my wife, obviously, and it's a story I said I would tell on the podcast. She's put, "Hope your bathroom doesn't stink anymore, Mickey." And also, she put "Evening lads" and "Touching Cloth," which apparently is my new name. On Saturday.
Hang on, can I jump in? Are we really sure you want to share whatever's coming?
Yeah, we're going to share this. It's all right. Luckily, Mickey saved the day.
It didn't end up in disaster.
It didn't end up in disaster. So the Barnet game, of course, I couldn't watch it or listen to it because I was at my mother-in-law's birthday meal in town. So I'm following Twitter for updates during the game. Long story short, gets in the car, coming back from Newcastle, and on the Redgeoff Bridge, I got a twinge. I was like, I need to go to a toilet here. Pulls up goes up into Bencham. I was like, I need to find a bar quick. I need to find somewhere, and I couldn't. There was just no, the weren't open. The ones on Bencham Bank, and I thought Mickey lives nearby, so I rings him up, which I normally do after a game, and he goes, 2 minutes, mate, and hung up on us. I was like, I haven't got 2 minutes. rang him back up again. I said, I really need the toilet, mate. I'm outside. So Mickey, what a legend, opened the front door, opened all the doors through his house, stood in the living room with a toilet roll like a baton in a relay as I cannot run, but I shifted through that house like a ghost. It was just a blur. And thankfully I made it. And my daughter is here. What was I doing? Do you want to show everyone the walk? Well, I didn't say it, but even still. But yeah, that's what Mickey's a legend, and hopefully I don't have to buy him a new toilet. But no, lots and lots of messages coming in. If you want to send your predictions in, please do. I've got loads of the messages tonight, and the views has been absolutely fantastic.
Let's get through the messages.
Yeah, I'll skim through the messages. So we've got here. Did Davy Steele put the Penguins? There has the Penguins. They put the chocolate in the fridge or the cupboard. I don't think they need to down there. Why is Steely wearing a jacket? It's only a little bit of snow. I've seen a couple of ones. Was Alan guessed £80 for a pie and peas supper? What were they serving? Venison pies? No, it was a chicken pie with frozen peas and a little bit of gravy. There was another couple of funny ones. Someone about Davy Steele. Someone said it's the Penguins in the fridge, but loads coming in here, loads of messages. What I'll do is I want you to get your predictions in for Saturday, which would be great. But Davy Steele's he did send in another message. This is his prediction for Saturday.
All right, lads, just another quick update. Wow, another cracking win last night. Way to Solihull, buzzing, absolutely buzzing, like most of the Heat Army. Delighted, big win that as well. Fourth top team, beating them 2-1 away. Obviously 2-0 against Barnet, against the second top team. We're cooking on gas. And of course, as you can see, the footage has been brought to you by the National League cameraman, and you hardly can see me. But never mind, we'll move on to Saturday. Come on, this is exciting stuff. Tough game, Saturday, Southend. I don't know which way to go with this. I'm actually thinking it might be a draw, this one. Might be a tight 1-1 draw this game. That's my prediction anyway. Enjoy the game, everybody. Catch up with you next week.
Steely has never looked better. Do you know that?
I know it was his best view, wasn't it? Of course, if anyone did watch the National League streaming service on Tuesday night, I put up a couple of what I thought was witty comments, but no, unfortunately the camera had just had mist inside of it, and they needed to insulate it. So it did. I mean, 60 minutes? We had a perfect picture, didn't we? 65 minutes. But no, credit to the commentators, they did well, considering. Even though they didn't know, and they were saying, "Oh, you could see on camera that was a bad one." Like, we can't see a thing.
The funniest one was, it's cold down here, but it's nice and bright.
We're
like, really? We thought it was foggy.
Yeah. So, we've got laughing faces about the story. We've got Dave needs an adult nappy. I think I do at the minute. We've got Marcus like, honest lads, some stories that you keep to yourselves.
All I'm trying to work out is if we've got an extension cable, so I don't have to sit beside him on Saturday.
It's that kind of stories that keep the Heat Army podcast special. I don't know if you mean special in a nice way or a bad way. We've got I can send you some continence pants, not to wear with Peter Heater. So there we go. If I've missed out any messages, if you want to send them in again, please do. There's that many to go through. I'm trying to pick some out. Just going back up. But I mean, I'll put this on because obviously we didn't get to see much of the footage. This was put this in the background at the moment. I'll remove that comment so we can see where we are. Click on that one and off. But see, another fantastic trip down there. We did speak about it before. I'll see if I can zoom forward to some of the goals.
Before the mist rolled in, was it?
Before the elusive mist that wasn't there. But no, I mean, nice to see Greg scoring again, and obviously a great penalty as well from Stephen Wern. He nearly took the back of the net out with that one. It was an absolute corker. But I mean, if we can continue in the same vein on Saturday, that would be very, very nice. Right, we've got the National League It's like the National League TV, of course it is. Right, we've got predictions coming in. 3-1 to Gateshead, says David Tron. We've got commentary from the Netty on Saturday. No, we'll be all right. Don't worry.
One of them will be.
Yeah, one of... I didn't actually see it. Someone's but what about the commentary? I'll remove that a second. What about the Scarborough commentary pronouncing Rutledge as Routledge? But I tell you what, let's forget about that. What about the assist? Lovely bit of skill there from Aidan, and nice to see that.
We not made the same mistake with Rutledge.
It's a common mistake.
Yeah, it's 3-2 to the Heed, says Colin Dilbo as well. Steely has Steely named 2 penguins, Dave and the other one Mickey. We'll find out as long as he doesn't try and get one back in his suitcase. Also as well, don't know if you heard my dad's Zoom video on Twitter. I was sniggering. Yeah, there was another part of the stream where the cameraman, his Zoom button must have
continuous zoom
just went in and out continuously. Accidents happen.
Zoom is boiler put it. That was class.
Yeah, National League still have my refund. With them yet.
Yeah,
nice of the National League to offer a refund on it. Of course, you know I'm not saying it's done on a shoestring, but you know they'll not have the resources that BT have got and things like that. So things will happen. How was New York, Mark? Haven't seen you since then.
It was very good. Questions I didn't expect to answer. Yes, it was very good. Yeah, nice few days away. Really enjoyed it. Brilliant city, and missed the defeat as well, which was good. Timed it well to miss that final game. But no, brilliant. Yeah, great city, and definitely go back at some point.
Yes, it's a great place to be. Charles Waff has emailed them twice, no response yet. I think there'll be quite a few because it was right across the board. It wasn't just a Gator game that was offered refunds. Hey, I tell you what, Steve Farnfield's living up to his nickname here of Mr. Last time you had an opposing podcaster on was pre-Yeovil, and we know what happened. I'll say 2-0 to Southend. It wasn't a podcaster, he was a journalist, this one, so it was all right. It's too cold for Penguins in Gateshead. I think it might be on Saturday. We've got I'll be making something regarding Gateshead, all to be revealed on Twitter at 12 o'clock tomorrow. So follow Boiler Sports on Twitter, and you'll see what that is. Now we've got here: is the council selling the ground? I've heard nothing. I've seen a couple of pieces online, not from fully reputable places either. A lot of them were websites where people have made their own and putting their own news content out, putting 2 and 2 together and putting a few things out there. So I haven't heard anything. I did text someone at the club for a comment on it. Didn't get back to me. I don't think there's anything to worry about in that. So, I mean, put it this way, the college and Gateshead have tenancies with the ground. If you buy a stadium, what would be the point for your tenants? Because are they going to bring another football club? Anyway, think about it. You just hope they don't put the rent up. That'd probably be the worst thing. We've got here. It was every single game apparently. On the poor streams. Yeah, it was jittering. They did sort it out in the second half. Credit where credit's due. They did get it going in the second half. It did improve. Good night, everyone. Watching good as chats normal weekend. It's our resident Darlington fan there, Ian. Thank you very much for joining us. Colin has put watch Paul Blackett on fire at Spennymoor the other night. Of course, yes. There's a lot of 10 former Gator players were on display for both sides, Spennymoor and South Shields. So it's good to see that players are doing well. We've got here.
Speaking of, can I just quickly? Speaking of Gateshead players, I was asked about Elliot Forbes. On Twitter the other days. He is still on loan at Blythe, and he should be back fit on Saturday.
There we go. We've got one here. Heard anything or something on Grayson and McBride being fit for Saturday? I don't know. Have you heard anything on that front, Mark?
I could be cheeky and say there'll be an update in tomorrow's Chronicle, but
buy it then.
I would argue Connor's probably closer. Put it that way.
When he came off against Fylde, he was really hobbling. Was it hamstring with Grayson? Is it? I would imagine, yeah. So Newcastle fans, but I still miss J.J. O'Donnell. Well, look, when he went away, he scored that overhead kick that helped in our promotion. So he was still helping Gateshead, even though he's in green and white. We'll forgive him that one. How dare someone put, I'm off to watch I'm a Celebrity. My prediction is 2-1 for Gateshead. Werner Lofthouse with the goals. That's a player I'd like to mention, Lofthouse as well. We're talking before we come on about how he's really settled in, along with a lot of players, very vocal on social media after the game, thanking the fans, not just after wins as well. Let it be said, it's, you know, the saying thank you to the support all the time, but he's really settled in, and that would be a loan I would love to see extended. He seems to have really took to life on Tyneside, and long may that continue. But we've still got loads of people watching, actually, so get them predictions in for Saturday. Let us know what you think, and anything that we haven't talked about so far. Oh, we've got another prediction here. I missed this one earlier before. Poppy says 3-1 and Tabitha says 4-2. And also to the girls, we're sorry about Mickey's swearing. You see, gotta think of the audience, Mickey. And
it's a fine. We haven't told them that. Temp on fine. So
2-1 to the Heed. No, I can't say that, because what if I need the toilet in the future? He's just not going to let us in. We've got 2-2 to Darren
I'll be
Walden.
standing at the door saying, pay me fine, or you can off.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah. But no, loads and loads of messages. So if I haven't read your message out, please do send it again. And also, of course, on Saturday, please do join us if you are unable to get to the game, if you're working, ill, or on holiday. We will be bringing you full match commentary with the fantastic Mark Carruthers with us, who's also as well on double duty. He's doing a bit of what can I say, corporate smooshing on you forgot hosting and interviewing Robbie Tinkler. So if you fancy getting yourself into corporate, I'd imagine there might be some tickets left, if there is any, but you can contact the club, have a look on the website, and if you'd like to go in there and sample some nice food and say sit in the posh seats and listen to Robbie Tinkler, I'd imagine be able to get a photo as well, and listening to our beautiful Mark Carruthers host the room like a pro.
Yes.
The lasses on Sunday as well. The lasses are playing at home.
Is it their last game for the Christmas break?
Yeah,
it is.
Want to be at home. It was a cracking game when we played them down there. We won 2-1. They got a bit feisty, so should be a good game on Sunday.
Well, just going to say
sure for revenge.
Yep, scores to be settled. 2 fantastic wins for the Heed. Looks like Barnet are struggling, losing to both us and Oldham. Yeah, I still think they'll turn it around. I don't think they're going to plunge right down the table, but yeah, it just shows you how you've got to be on your game in this league to be worthy of being up there. And we've got for Christmas story, best of luck to the lasses on Sunday. And I say this episode has absolutely flew by. If I haven't read out your message, apologies. We've got 2-0 to the Heed, Kevin Webster. 3-0 says Trina. 1-1 from Sam Pendleton. And also got a question here. Is Kenton Richardson suspended on Saturday? His booking against Solihull would have took him up to 5th, including the 6th, including the FA Cup. Not sure on that.
I couldn't honestly tell you.
Interesting one. We've already answered this question, but we'll put it here. Marcus Forbes back fit for Gateshead or Blythe. He's back for Blythe on Saturday. And Patrick Story, he's wanting to get into the £10 fines. He's put £10 to the foundation for every naughty word. Mickey wouldn't be able to eat if we did that. Davey, have you ever? Oh, sorry. If you ever,
Aspersions, I have one outburst a week. And it's normally because you're there.
We've got Davey.
Mark knows exactly how I feel.
Well, this is going to be the final message. If you ever caught short in southeast of London next to Crystal Palace, but I'm usually out, so the fault was there, I think. But no, a massive thank you. Like and subscribe if you haven't already been with us here. But say thank you for everyone. Thank you to Mark for jumping into the hot seat tonight. Always a pleasure to have him on. And Mickey, of course, and of course to Davey Steele down there in the Antarctic. his internet is just good enough to send videos on WhatsApp. He can't listen in live. So he's probably going to catch up with these when he gets to Argentina to fly back in a couple of weeks. So say a big thank you to him. But yes, that is the end of the show, everybody. Thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Get yourself down on Saturday. We need all the support we can. Keep these lads going the way they are. They deserve it for what they've done on the road. And hopefully they can give us another all-out performance like they have been doing all season. And Southend, can we get 3 points and get us possibly into 4th place? We'll find out on Saturday. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye.
Take care, everyone.